Lokoz boxing. Oscar Valdez versus Robson Conceicao. The most underrated fight at this time. I think that the fight has been forgotten because of the Joshua versus Usyk fight that's happening this same month of September. However, Valdez versus Conceicao is going to be a great fight, I think. It's going to be very entertaining, and best of all, it's going to be action-packed. We'll go into the details on why this fight is not going to be the boring, over-easy fight that people think it is, or it presents to be. So, one of the reasons, obviously, that this fight is not getting a lot of marketing, there's not a lot of talk about it, is because people don't know who Robson Conceicao is. So, for all those who don't know, this is really going to be about revenge for Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez and Robson Conceicao had already fought when they were both amateurs. They fought in the Continental Tournament in Mexico. Now, Robson Conceicao defeated Oscar Valdez as an amateur. So this is why the fight gets even more interesting. Oscar Valdez explains how now that he's a professional, he is going to do what it takes to get the victory. Robson Conceicao has the height advantage. He's about 5 inches taller. He has the reach advantage for about 4 inches longer in reach. That always poses a challenge to boxers because obviously if you have a longer reach, you can keep your opponent away and try to prevent him from even getting to you. If we look at Conceicao's record, we do show that he only has 16 fights. He has won all 16 fights, so he doesn't have any losses. And we see that he's knocked out 8 of his opponents out of those 16 fights, which means he has a 50% knockout rate, which is not bad at all. If we compare Robson's 50% knockout rate to Valdez is 79% knockout percentage, this is going to be an action-packed fight. We see that Valdez has 29 wins, 23 KOs out of those wins. Oscar Valdez has more experience since he has more fights, and he also has a higher knockout percentage as previously talked about. Interestingly enough, Conceicao is the first Brazilian to win an Olympic gold medal in boxing for Brazil. And that goes a long way because that tells you the type of fighter he is. He must have some type of discipline. He must be a very consistent and a very hungry fighter. These are the fighters that are very dangerous when going up against a professional world champion. This will be a world title defense for Valdez. And when you have an underdog like this, he's going to be very hungry for victory. Very motivated to defeat Valdez. Especially since Conceicao has already bragged about defeating Valdez already in the amateurs. He's talking about doing this all over again. I think it goes without saying that Oscar Valdez is nowhere near the same level of how he fights, his experience, as when he was an amateur. I mean, even if we go not too far back, when he changed trainers, that changed his fighting style a whole lot. I don't know if y'all remember when Oscar Valdez didn't have the best defense. He would kind of just go at it and try to knock the other fighter's head off without being too concerned about getting hit. But it all changed when his jaw became dislocated while he was fighting, and he continued fighting with a broken jaw. That really changed his way of seeing things, and this is actually what made him look for Eddie Reynoso. He needed somebody to help him not take as much as a beating while he aims to knock out his opponents. Right now, there is no Brazilian boxing champion at this time as we speak. So Conceicao is looking to be the Brazilian boxing champion at this time. As we mentioned previously, the fight between Conceicao and Oscar Valdez in the amateurs happened over 12 years ago. I believe it was in 2009. So I really don't see any type of advantage to having defeated Valdez in the amateurs and facing him now. I mean, Valdez fights completely different in many aspects. And especially, as I mentioned, with Eddie Reynoso in his corner, which really improved his way of not taking as much as the hits. I mention it again, I think this is going to be an action-packed fight. I think it's going to be a very entertaining fight. And I really don't see this fight going to 12 rounds. I see Oscar Valdez knocking out Conceicao. However, right before that, I do show, or at least I am almost certain that there will be a lot of interchanging. Very, very action-packed fight, as I mentioned. With all that being said, I do predict that Conceicao will be knocked out by Oscar Valdez. The fight will not go 12 rounds, which makes it even more of an interesting fight. Very underrated fight. Should get more attention. Should have more marketing. Most people don't even know that Valdez is fighting again because of his opponent not having a big name. Nevertheless, his opponent is a great fighter. His fights are very entertaining. Let me know what you all think. If you like what you hear, subscribe, hit the like button. If you don't, go ahead and dislike the video. Lokoz Boxing.